Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So today I'm going to be using some of the downloadables available for Sale and See from Planners Anonymous to make some cards. So if you want to see how I made these ones, then just keep watching. Alright, so because of the COVID-19 issues around the world, my Sale and See kit hasn't got here yet. So what I thought I'd do is print out some of the colouring in sheets and then the quote cards and then these new journal cards to kind of see what I can make out of them. And what I'm sort of thinking in my head is I'm going to make a couple of really easy cards. So these are just the colouring in sheets that I've printed out and coloured in using my Copics. I do have some others that I haven't coloured in yet. So if we sort of get to a point when I'm cutting these all out and decide I need a different sheet, a different image, I'll cut that out. But just for now, I'm going to start by trimming these out, just using my paper trimmer, because I am going to use a couple of these as backgrounds. So really easy here, just cutting them out, nothing too fancy. And I've just printed these out at home using my printer just on, it's not normal copy paper, but it's like a step above. So it's a little bit thicker and it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. But generally speaking, it's not super fancy paper. So now that they're all cut out, I have all of my little backgrounds and bits and pieces ready to go. Now because I don't have my kit yet, what I'm going to do is kind of back these onto, these are going to be really simple cards, but I'm going to back them onto just some scrap paper out of my stash. So I'm just going to score these pre-cut and scored card bases. These are stuff I bought from Picture to Page last year. They're just good ones to have in your stash, just to make some of these really quick, easy cards. So what I thought I'd do is I've got some red and some blue scrap paper. Not scrap paper, scraps of paper. I'm just going to kind of match some of these together until I get a card that I like. Now I know I like this one. I've tried this one sort of off camera a little bit. I love that with the whale on the front. I think that looks really cool. And that can be, we can either do this two ways. So we can either have it something like this and maybe mat it on like a darker blue, not like that blue. This is where it's fun having all these different shades of paper. And then we can have the whale sitting on the front and that could be kind of raised up. So we'll try that. So we'll make this first one first. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so it's got a bit of a fuller mat around the sides. I'm just going to cut off this edging bit and I'm just going to make this, so this card is 10.5 wide, so I'm going to make this 8.5, just so I've got a wider bit to work with later. So I'm going to make it 8.5 wide. So it's going to give us a really nice edging the whole way around. And then the card itself is just over 14.5. So I'm going to cut this to 11.5. Sorry, 12.5. Just see how that fits on there. And that fits on top. There we go. So when you've got all of these bits and pieces like this is where it's fun to kind of play around and just see what you can make from what you've got. So just put some glue all over this one. These are all going to be really simple, which is going to be the fun of them, because you can make a whole suite of cards from just your colouring and these printed papers. Put this one in the middle. Just trying to make that centered as best I can. I'm really bad at that. There we go. And then we'll grab the whale and we'll put that up on a little bit of foam tape. I actually really like this orca whale. A little bit there. I'll cut a little bit just for his tail. Oops. We can have our little whale sitting there like that. And then rather than having that as an actual quote, I'm going to cut this down so I've got just the words. I'm going to make this straight because it's definitely not straight. And And the cool thing is here is if I mess this up or I make it that it's not right, I can just print another set and do it again. So the paper cutter's guilt is just all gone. Just cutting that. See, there we go, I messed it up, but that's all right. The only downside is when you get to this very small bit, it's a bit harder to cut, but that's all right. I know I've cut that wrong, but I'm wondering if I can fix it. Not fix it, but make it look a little bit less obvious that I've messed it up. So I've just cut that really little. And then the other thing I'm going to do is cut this top bit here. So the top of the refuse. I'm just going to cut that a little bit skinnier because it's just a little bit much. I am going freehand, which means I'm probably likely to screw this up. And then I'm just cutting it down on the left and then the sink on the right. And I'm going to kind of mat this on the side so it'll be refuse. And then we'll put the two in the middle. That looks okay. So I'm really bad at cutting straight lines. We're aware of this already here on my channel, so that's okay. You can just kind of alter that just a little. We'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to stick these down. And there we go. So that's our first card. I actually really like that. I don't know if the sentiment's right. I feel like the sentiment might be a little bit wrong, but I think that'll be okay. So for the next one, I really want to do one with the lighthouse. So I'm gonna fold this over, and I really want this one to be a bit more simple. So I really love it just like that. So all I'm gonna do is I think I'll put a black mat around this. I think that'll look really cool. I just have it sitting basically like that. I think that'll look really cool. But I'm going to put a black mat around the whole kind of thing. So I've just grabbed a bit of plain black cardboard again out of my stash. No, I was gonna do it the whole way around, but I think it'll look really good as a mat around the quote, and then I'll work out if I want to put it around the lighthouse as well. So I'm just going to stick this down. I'm just going to try and find a corner that I know is actually straight. I do have this problem cutting straight sometimes. Okay. And then we'll just trim off around that. So I have left a fairly generous kind of matting there, but at least it's even the whole way around. So the light your own way sitting like that. And the lighthouse, yeah, I think that needs to be matted as well. So I'm just going to glue this and then fussy cut around it. It's a really easy image actually to fussy cut, so that makes it a lot easier. And I'm just going to try and leave that same amount of black matting around the whole thing. There's just something missing with it and I don't know what. This is where I try and pull out some of the other bits and pieces and just see what I've got, but I kind of feel like if I put this down, it's not cheating, but it's a little bit too simple. So I like the positioning there. It just needs something down the bottom. So this is another bit of scrap. I just pulled it out just then, but it's actually a scrap of a water, it's like a watery kind of background. So I'm just thinking, just wondering if this would work. So I'm just going to cut this to a bit of a strip. It just wasn't straight, so I'm just fixing that part. And it's the same sort of colours as is here. So it's sort of a, no, that just looks silly. Maybe it's the shape of the card. Maybe if we made the card square. And this is what I mean. It's kind of, card making can sometimes be a bit of a puzzle. If you're trying to keep them really, really simple, then it does feel like a bit of a puzzle sometimes. You're just trying to make it look a little bit more normal. Just leave it just like that. I feel like I need to have like a beam of light coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down. So I'm going to have that sitting up in the corner. Have this sitting up. I do love to use foam tape. You guys probably worked this out already. I love using foam tape. It just adds, without having to do a lot of work, it just adds something to it, which I really love doing. And then I'm actually going to add some Copic coloring, but I'm just going to grab my fine liners. I'm just going to draw, now this is where I could mess this up completely, but let's give it a shot anyway. I'm just going to draw kind of the light beam, and then just a little bit like that as well. And then just grab some Copic colours. So I've got Y00 and Y11 light coming out there with the darker, and then blend it using this really pale yellow. Now it's not perfect, and I'm not in love with it. There needs to be something else to this, but I'm damned if I can work it out. But I think that's definitely better than it would have been. And then maybe it's can I put a couple of shells? I'm just going to put that little nautilus shell in there as well. I'm not sure it's the right thing, but it needs a little bit of something extra, so we'll use that one. So there's the second card. And I think I want to make one more, and then I'm tempted to do one more after that, because there's two of the quotes here that I really want to use. Where did it go? I now have too much paper here on my desk. This one. So I've got this one that says "Let Your Dreams Sail." Now I haven't quite used the right amount of blue, the right shade of blue to go with the quote, but I'm going to use it anyway. So again, grabbing that same base, and this time rather than doing patterned paper background, this is where I wish I had the stamps. I cannot wait to get the stamps. They're going to be so good. I'm going to mat this onto here. Sorry, I just said I wasn't going to use patterned paper. I thought about just then using Copics. Actually, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So I'm grabbing a bunch of the blues, and these are the same blues I used to colour in. So what I'm going to do is just do I'm going to use the chisel tip, which I don't usually use the chisels, but it's deliberately going to be not perfect. That's kind of the point. So I'm going to do a line of each. So started off with B18. It doesn't matter which order I go in. They're not going to blend together as such. They're just going to kind of be lines after each other. So I'm just going to follow this the whole way down the page, and this will sort of make us a background just using all different shades of blue. And that'll tie this all together, I think. So I'm just going to repeat that the whole way down, and I'll be right back. Now I will say that I probably should have done that on a different panel of cardboard because the inside looks a little messy, but I can always fix that later. That's not the worst thing that could have happened. And the cool thing is most of the time where I've kind of made a mess of this, it's been in the middle, so it's okay. Like when I put this down, it'll actually sort of work. No, we don't need to mat it. So I'm going to put that there in the middle. So just, again with glue tape, and just stick it in the middle. Uh-oh. It's alright, I didn't break it. So put that straight in the middle, or as much in the middle as I can do it. Then I'm going to grab in the waves that I've cut out. That's not straight at all. So with the waves, I'm just going to stick these down kind of around the side, and what that does, it brings in, first of all, it makes the colours on the outside blend a little bit better with the colours in here. And I think I've only got 5. So I'm just going to try and keep them sort of down the bottom a little bit, but then stretch them up the top. I think I did have another one. I think I might have accidentally cut through it to get one of the others. So I'm just going to stick these down. I'm actually going to stick these ones down with liquid glue, and that's just because I want the little, like all of the little bits to get stuck down, and sometimes that's a bit hard with glue tape. So just kind of go all around it. Like that, but the only thing I think is missing, so this is something that Roda from Roda Scraps does a bit. She does these faux stitch lines, and I'm just going to add these in around the square of the quote. There just needs to be something along the top. There's something along the bottom because we've got the waves. And there you have card number 3. So the only other, I feel like I just want to make one more. And I really love these little beach houses. I just think they look really cool. And this time I'm going to do, rather than doing a sort of a card that's very easy to put together, I'm just trying to think. So might add a bit of Distress Oxide to this one. So just in case anyone's wondering, I did print all of these. Sorry, I just had an idea and I'm just wondering if I can do it. So with this one, I'm going to cut out a little window in the front, and then I'm going to do some inking on the inside of the card, but I'm going to add in a little bit of a border. So I'm just going to grab in my stitched rectangle stackables, and I'm just getting the small, I might get the 3rd smallest of the large stackables. I think that might be the right kind of size here. I'm just checking if that is the right, no, it needs to be bigger than that. So we'll go up one size, we'll go to the 2nd biggest of the small stitch stackables. And this isn't going to give us the stitch on the card itself. It'll kind of be, it'll be on the inside of the square, not on the outside of the square. That's better. So I'm just going to stick that down. We'll run that through the die machine. Not going to put that too far away because I'm probably still going to use it to do one more thing. So there we go. There's our little window. And then it leaves us obviously with a little rectangle here that has the stitching, which I just messed up, but that's alright. Would have been a good one. And then while we're here, I'm just going to grab a piece of craft cardstock. So this is again out of my scraps. I'm just going to grab in the paper trimmer. And I'm going to use this to cut myself a little hill. Well, I'm looking at this and thinking maybe that's a little bit too dark for the sand. Yeah, all right. So I'll make myself some sand there. You guys have seen the way I make sand before, so I'm not going to talk you through it, but I'm just going to speed it up so you can still watch it. But basically I'm just using my inks. So I'm going to do it really fast, but I'm going to leave it in the video. So just a little tip, if you ever have a big splodge of paint, especially white paint that you don't like on an oxide background, I just find just picking it up with your finger actually works really well. It's never an issue, it's always really simple to do, and it's just going to finish this off just a little bit faster. So I want the background, I want the sand to sit on the front. So, paper trimmer in. Showing once again that when I try and do simple cards, I can't do it. I need to do something a bit more complicated. So that'll sit on the front, just like that. Now I'm lining this up, lining it up where I want it with the curve. Now I've actually just missed a little bit. I've got some of the splatter on the side there, which is okay. So I'm going to sit the background or the sand where I want the sand, and then trim off the edges, or trim off to the border as opposed to trimming it off. You guys get what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the sides and then along the bottom here, and then we can go ahead and trim off all of the excess. Adds a little bit of something different. And then the houses I'm going to stick down on there, and then I think I'll ink in a background. So we'll stick the houses down first because that'll give them a chance to dry. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the first house. Just sort of work out where I want that to sit. Do the same thing with the other two. Like I said, this would be a really good one using the vellum or the acetate, because that would fit really nicely behind this window. Okay, so we're going to ink in the background, so that's stuck a little bit. This is why I don't make complicated cards, guys, because I'm not very good at it. A little bit of an eraser should get most of that mark off. Hopefully you won't notice it when I finish this next bit. So I'm just going to grab that pencil, just mark in gently where those lines are, and then using the die, going to cloud that in. I just want to use that area. I don't want to do the whole thing. So to kind of help, I'm going to use some washi tape just to mask off the area. And I'm just going to run this over my pants a little bit just to get rid of some of the stick. Which is now going to pick up all the dog hair, but that's alright. So it's going to mask this all off, and then I'm going to just very, very quickly ink it in using tumbled glass. It's my favourite pale blue for skies, so I think that'll work really nicely. still see that little mark from the back of the hill, but it's not too bad. And just to try and fix that so it doesn't keep doing it, just putting a little bit of powder on the back of this, and that way the glue will stop being sticky. It will stop sticking to the card from the next time we open it. So I'm just gonna peel the washi away very gently. I've made a lot of boo-boos with this one, guys, but you just have to love it anyway, please. You get the point. I tried to do a bunch of things right, it just didn't quite work. So I've still got, just gonna get rid of the pencil lines. Just rubbing that gently because I don't want to take off too much of the clouds. So I've got a couple of little boo-boos in that one, but when you close it, it's almost worth it. It's not quite. I think I've kind of made enough of a mess that it's not quite right. I do want to add some stitching to the side of this as well, but this time I'm going to use brown. Kind of want to match the brown that's in here, so I'm just going to go around the outside here. I'm going to do it freehand. At what quotes I've still got that I could kind of add in here. I really like that red seize the day, and I feel like I can add a little bit more red here still. I'm just going to cut that off. That actually looks really cute just on the side there. I'm just trying to work out that side. Sometimes you can just look at it and go, yep, that's the right thing. And the only thing I'm going to do to it is I'm just going to add a teeny tiny little flag to it. So I'm just, again, that's very nautical, so that works really nicely. Now that one's my favourite, but I feel like I put a little bit more effort into it, so that generally does make it a little better. But they've got 4 there that none of them are particularly complicated. This one's probably a little bit more, but it doesn't have to be. You could really easily have that just with those 3 little bathing boxes on their own, not have to worry about the background, or when we get the vellum and the acetate, that would be a really good one to add in there as well. I still have plenty of die cuts left over here. You could easily put that hat sort of somewhere on the top. It could be blowing away. You could put a couple of the shells around if you really wanted to. There's a lot you could do still with these. They are so easy to cut out. None of them were particularly complicated. They're fun to colour. If you're a colourer, if you like colouring, whether it's with Copics, Tombows, pencils, whatever, you're going to have a great time with these. The colouring sheet is an extra download available on the Planners Anonymous website for $5. The quote cards, so these little ones here that we use, they are free if you are a current subscriber, and then the journal cards are $10. So you just print them out. You can print them out as many times as you like once you've got them, and they are just so cool. I really love them. So I hope that these printables help tide some of you over until you get your Sail and Sea kits. I know they are on their way. I know that the frustration of not having them is there, but I promise you they are on their way, and they'll all be home with you very soon. And I cannot wait to see what you guys create with this kit. It is actually, I'm so excited to get it because it's my favorite kind of color combination. But if you want to use some of the downloads in the meantime, hop on over to Planners Anonymous. I'll link it down below, and you can get some of these gorgeous printables for yourself. There's also a lot of free printables available on the website right now. So if you do want to grab some and print them out and use them for yourself, I'd highly recommend it. It's great for the kids too. You can print them out and use them. The kids can colour them in as well. So it's just an extra little thing that you can do with them. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and be subscribed to my channel. Let me know if you want to see more projects using the printables from Planners Anonymous as well as just the kits. Hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, whatever you're doing, and I will see you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!